At sportsradio1450.com. This is Sports 101. Stark, Grammy, and Eric Pedigo taking your calls up until 9 o'clock this morning at 529-1450. You can also listen at sportsradio1450.com or look at us on the Dublin Pub webcam. I'm on there now. Good morning.
Hey.
Sports 101 on Facebook, or you can follow us on Twitter as well, Sports 101 on 1450. Let's dive into Major League Baseball. Interleague play is back for the 14th season. Man, time flies. I can't believe it's been 14 years already. What do you guys think about interleague play? Does it need to stay, go, maybe just tweak it a little bit more?
I think that it's just regular.
It's fun seeing the Cubs play in Fenway.
Yeah, I don't understand why. I just don't get why it's even newsworthy hardly that baseball would allow teams to play each other in the same. I mean, they're all MLB teams. Why would they not be playing each other anyway? I just don't understand why you would keep it.
Well, because one league has a designated hitter and the other one doesn't, so you have two different rules.
But it's
and now
one...
you mold your team around a DH, right,
well,
in the American League, and now all of a sudden you got to come to the National League and you got to bat your pitcher who hasn't batted all year, and your DH has to sit there.
Well, that's a separate issue.
That you're paying $7 bajillion.
That's a separate issue.
I brought that up. That's why they're talking about it.
I brought that up when Kirker was in here. It needs to be uniform. I mean, duh. It's silly to have essentially two different games.
Right. I hate interleague play, and I'll tell you why. I grew up when you had National League play the National League, the American League played the American League. I enjoyed that because then when you had the All-Star game, you had the guys who never played each other. So, I mean, it was a big thing. The American League guys got to see the National League guys and play against them. Now, I mean, they play during the course of the season. It's to me, it's boring. You go to the American League team stadium, you play the DH. When you go to the National League, you don't. It just, come on. Let's get one thing straight. Let's play DH for everybody, or just dump it and get. And also, I really want to get rid of interleague play.
Would you not want anybody from the NFC to play the AFC in football, or would you not want anybody from the Eastern Conference to play the Western Conference in NBA?
That's old school Mark talking.
You have 162 games.
Guys don't even stick around on the. Guys are playing for 5, 7, 11 different teams throughout their careers. You see them play in both leagues all the time anyway.
162 games. Why would you only divvy that up between 16 opponents or something?
Right.
It doesn't make any sense. Just play the same team 25 times in a year. I'm good.
As far as that goes, I'd like to see them go back to 154 games. I like to see them where they have the gloves and they throw the glove out of position for the next player. I'm going back too far.
They're not going to get rid of the DH.
No.
I don't know that they're going to get rid of interleague play. What I would do, though, is reduce it a little bit. Make it, because of what you say, Mark, make it more, you always waited for the World Series to see that dream matchup that you never saw before. Okay, well, right now the Cubs are playing in Fenway Park.
Yeah. That's
pretty cool. First time they've done it since 1918.
Yeah, that is cool.
So that's cool. I think the Cardinals playing the Royals, that works for me, too. It's a rivalry.
Yeah.
They pack the stadium in Kansas City for the only weekend of the year because no one goes to the games otherwise. And when they come to Kansas City, you pack Busch Stadium, too. Obviously, it's big with Cubs and White Sox. I think the Indians-Reds series right now is attractive, but then there's those series that just stink.
Yep.
Like the Toronto Rockies. I mean, that has no appeal to anyone. No one's coming from Toronto to Colorado. No one's coming from Colorado. So those series have to be eliminated. I think you keep the Cubs, White Sox every year. I think you keep the Cardinals, Royals every year because then they're both making money. There's some attraction there. There's not a huge travel issue. I mean, I don't know. You can't make a rivalry for the Rockies.
No.
But maybe you can do Seattle and Colorado and then see what happens.
To me, it's all about the team. I mean, who watches Toronto anyway, regardless of who they're playing? It's more about the teams than anything. If it's two good teams, people are going to watch. Even if it's one good team and one mediocre team, people will watch that. But when you put a couple of teams out there that people don't watch anyway, they're definitely not going to watch it.
Well, 529-1450. Make Major League Baseball happy. Have the Yankees and Red Sox play 162 games.
There we go.
I mean that's all ESPN and MLB would just absolutely die over.
Baseball. Its problem is it's so stubborn and it wants to stay the same way for so long, and it's so scared to make changes and go forward that this is interleague play is a necessary change that needed to be made, and now they need to look at other things that they can change.
You won't make baseball exciting? Get rid of Bud Selig as commissioner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Well, Bud will say he introduced it.
Oh, Bud lives in a dreamland.
And he made the All-Star game count.
Oh, yeah,
And he started this steroids thing, by God. He should have started 20 years ago, before he did.
The man is a martyr to himself.
Yeah, well, there's plenty of problems with baseball, but he is trying to change them. Now they're talking about adding another playoff team. Yeah. He's real adamant about realignment again.
Really?
He wants to do realignment again, and I'm really scared what might happen there, because they're going to. Someone's going to go to the American League from the National League. Someone's coming from. But I also still think there needs to be contraction in Major League Baseball.
I see if they did a realignment, I would be tuned in hard as to see who would go where. See, this is what baseball needs, is stuff like that. Stuff to draw people like me in that are otherwise just bored with it. And if they did a total realignment, if they made some more drastic changes, and I'm talking about changes for the good. Making the All-Star game count is the most ridiculous thing.
Play more day games. Play some doubleheaders. I mean, actual doubleheaders, not day-night where you have two different paying crowds come in.
Well, actually, they're talking about that being more of a problem because the Cubs have too many day games. Yeah. And the Cubs are always looking for excuses as to why they can't
too cold, too hot,
win. Right,
sun got in my eyes.
The weather hasn't been nice up in Wrigley all year. Really, they've had like 2 nice games, but they have day games and then a night game and then another day game, and that doesn't work with people's schedules. They always pack the place because there's just so many people in Chicago apparently that have nothing else to do than to go watch the Cubs lose. But
quit starting World Series games at 8:00 at night. Start them a little earlier so younger people can stay up and watch. I mean, there's a lot of things you can do, but because of money, it won't be done.
See, I don't buy into that much either. Kids stay up all night long. Kids stay up late. It's the interest factor. It hardly matters what time it's on.
It's the adults that don't.
It's just people aren't watching, and there's nothing to watch. I mean, we need some excitement, and everybody talks about speeding up the game, and I know I've made comments, regarding that as well. But fact is, if there's something exciting going on, it doesn't matter if it takes 3.5 hours. We'll watch it.
Right, and the other thing, it's baseball though.
Yeah.
How much more can you really speed it up? And when you're playing the game, when you're playing baseball, you think that it is pretty quick. Wow, you just took a high and tight fastball that you want to take a moment to think about and see what's coming up next. As far as that goes, as far as the game itself, you can't really speed it up that much. Maybe less warm-up pitches?
Well, there maybe less. Maybe, I mean, come on. If a guy's warming up in the bullpen, why does he need to come warm up on the mound too? He's already warmed up.
I don't know, because that's the rules
How many times does a manager need to come out to the mound, or how many times do we have to watch two old, crusty guys in goofy outfits yell at each other nose to nose? I mean, come on, you know what I mean? There are things that need sped up, and the fact that you can call timeout in baseball is absurd. Timeout from what?
These guys
stop the clock.
Yeah.
What?
These guys who are at bat, who always have to adjust their batting gloves.
Yeah.
Tell me you got 5 seconds to go whack you over the head to the bat.
Get in there.
I mean, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, you can speed up a little bit in that aspect, but at the same time, you're going to slow it down when you try to get the rules right. The other day, play at first base. I mean, totally obvious, and they totally missed it, but it should be real simple to fix it.
Well, how long does your typical manager, umpire, whatever spectacle last?
Yeah, well, do we really need to have La Russa stroll out there?
How long does that last?
The double switch.
Can he just go like this from the dugout and not waste all that time?
It takes a minute and a half to see the correct play tops, with a replay. But we have to sit here and watch these guys yell at each other for 3 minutes and kick dirt around. I mean, if you got the plays right, it would hurry the game up a little bit. You know what I mean?